before I became a writer, I was a listener. On hot summer evenings, our family sat on the porch and listened to my grandmother tell a hair-raising ghost story, or watched my mother dramatize out Dunberg's poems. But it was always a special treat when my grandfather took the stage. He was a master storyteller who charmed his audience with humorous stories told in the rich and colorful dialect of the rural South. He began all his yarns with a question. Did I ever tell you about the time little Flossie Finder came out the piney woods hitting a fox? Flossie! The sound of Big Mama's voice floated past the cabin in Sophia's quarters, round the smokehouse, beyond the cabin chicken coop, all the way down to Flossie finding. Flossie tucked away her straw doll in a hollow log and hurried to answer her grandmother's call. Here I am, Big Mama, Flossie said after catching her breath. It was hot, hotter than usual Tennessee August day. Big Mama stopped sorting peaches and wiped her hands and face with her apron. Take these to Miss Viola over at the Mackissac's place, she said, reaching behind her and handing Flossie the basket of fresh eggs. Seem like they've been troubled by a fox. Miss Viola's chickens be so scared they can't even now lay a stone. Big Mama clacked her teeth and shook her head. Why come, Mr. J can't catch the fox with his dogs? Flossie asked, putting a peach in her apron pocket to eat later. Every time they corner that old slickster, he gets away. I tell you, that fox is one sly critter. What do a fox look like? Flossie said. I just remember ever seeing one. Big Mama had to think a bit. Child, a fox be just a fox. But one thing for sure, that rascal loves eggs. He'll do most anything to get some eggs. Flossie tucked the basket under her arms and started on her way. Don't tarry now, Big Mama called. And be particular about them eggs. Yeah, Flossie answered. The way through the woods was shorter and cooler than the road route under the open sun. What if I come upon a fox, thought Flossie. Oh well, a fox be just a fox. That ain't so scary. Flossie commenced to skipping along the road. When she came upon a critter she couldn't recall ever seeing. He was sitting beside the road like he was expecting somebody. Flossie skipped right up to him and nodded agreeing the way she had been taught to do. Top of the morning to you, little missy, the critter replied. And what is your name? I be Flossie Finey, she answered with a proper curtsy. I reckon I don't know who you be either. Slowly, the animal circled around Flossie. I am a fox, he announced, all the time eyeing the basket of eggs. He stopped in front of Flossie, smiled as best a fox can, and bowed. At your service. Flossie rocked back on her heels, then up on her toes, back and forth, carefully studying the creature who was claiming to be a fox. "Nope," she said at last. "I just purely don't believe it." "You don't believe what?" Fox asked, looking away from the basket of eggs for the first time. "I don't believe you a fox. That's what." Fox's eyes flashed angrily. Then he chuckled softly. "Oh, my dear," he said, sounding right disgusted. "Of course I'm a fox. A little girl like you should be simply terrified of me. Whatever do they teach children these days?" Flossie tossed her head in the air. "Well, whatever you are, you so like a heap of yourself," said Flossie, and skipped away. Fox looked shocked. "Wait," he called. "You mean you ain't frightened? Not just a bit?" Flossie stopped. Then she turned and said, "I ain't never seen a fox before, so why should I be scared of you? And I don't know that you was really a fox for a fact." Fox pulled himself tall. He cleared his throat. "Are you saying I must offer proof that I am a fox before you will believe me and be frightened of me?" "That's just what I'm saying." Little Flossie skipped on her through the piney woods while that fox fella rushed away looking for whatever he needed to prove he was really who he said he was. Meanwhile, Flossie stopped to rest side a tree. Suddenly, Fox was beside her. "I have proof," he said. "See, I have thick, luxurious fur. Feel for yourself." Fox leaned over for Flossie to rub his back. "Feels like rabbit's fur to me," she said to Fox. "Shucks, you ain't no fox. You's a rabbit, all the time trying to fool me." "A rabbit? A rabbit?" he shouted. "I'll have you know my reputation precedes me. I am the third generation of foxes who have outsmarted and outran Mr. J.W. McCutcheon's fine hunting dogs. I have raided some of the best hen houses from Franklin to Madison. Rabbit indeed. I am a fox, and you will act accordingly." Flossie hopped to her feet. She put her hand on her hip and tapped her foot. "Unless you show me you are a fox, I ain't according you nothing." And without further ceremony, she skipped away. Down the road a piece, Flossie stopped by a babbling spring. She kneeled to get a drink of water. Fox came up to her and said, "I have a long, pointed nose. Now that should be proof enough." "Don't prove a thing to me." Flossie picked some wildflowers. "Come to think of it," she said, "matter of fact, like rats got long, pointy noses." She snapped her fingers. "That's it. You're a rat trying to pass yourself off as a fox." That near about took Fox's breath away. "I beg your pardon," he gasped. "You can beg all you want," Flossie said, skipping on down the road. "That still don't make you no fox." "I'll teach you a thing or two, young lady," he called after her. You just wait and see." Before long, Flossie came to a clearing. A large orange tabby was sunning on a tree stump. "Hey, pretty kitty," the girl said, and rubbed the cat behind his ears. Meanwhile, Fox slipped from behind a clump of bushes. Since you won't believe me when I tell you I'm a fox, he said swiftly, perhaps you will believe this fine feline creature toward whom you seem to have a measure of respect. Flossie looked at the cat and winked her eye. She said, he sure used a heap of words, she whispered. Fox beckoned for the cat to speak up. Cat jumped to a nearby log and yawned and stretched. Then he answered, this be a fox, because he has sharp claws and yellow eyes, Sheep heard. Fox seemed satisfied, but Flossie looked at the cat. She looked at Fox, then once more at both, just to be sure. She said, all due respect, Miss Kitty, but both y'all got sharp claws and yellow eyes, so that don't prove nothing, except both y'all be cats. Fox went to howling and running around in a circle. He was plumb beside himself. I am a fox, he said. I know I am. He shouted, this is absurd. No call for you to use that kind of language, Flossie said, and she skipped away. Wait, Fox father pleaded. I just remembered something. It might be the solution to this horrible situation. I have a bushy tail. Good. Fox seemed to perk up. That's right, he said. All foxes are known for their fluffy, bushy tails. That's got to be the adequate proof. Ain't gotta be. You got a bushy tail, so do squirrel. Flossie pointed to one overhead, leaping from branch to branch in the treetops. Here, have a bite of peach, she said, offering him first bite of her treat. But Fox was crying like a natural-born baby. No, 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 he sobbed. If I promise you that I'm a fox, won't that do? Flossie shook her head. No. Flossie cupped her hands over her eyes and caught sight of McKitchen's quarters and Miss Viola's cabin. Fox didn't notice a thing. He just followed behind Flossie, begging to be believed. Give me one more chance, he pleaded. Flossie turned on her heels. Okay, but just this once more. Oh, woe's me, Fox hollered. I may never recover my confidence. Flossie didn't stop walking. That's just what I've been saying. You just an old confidence. Come telling me you was a fox, then can't prove it. Shame on you. Long about that time, Flossie and the fox came out of the woods. Tried not to whimper, but his voice was real unsteady like. I have sharp teeth and I can run extremely fast. He waited for Flossie to say something. Slowly, the girl rocked from heel to toe, back and forth. You know, she finally said, smiling, it don't make much difference what I think anymore. What? Fox asked. Why? 'Cause there's one of Mr. J.W. McKitchen's hounds behind you. He got sharp teeth and can run fast too. And by the way, that hound's looking. It's all over for you. Glanced back, Fox dashed toward the woods. The hounds know who I am, he shouted, but I'm not worried. Sure can outsmart and outrun one of Mr. J.W. McKitchen's miserable mutts any old time of the day. Because like I told you, I am a fox. No, said Flossie. I know. And she turned toward Miss Viola's with the basket of eggs safely tucked under her arms. The end.